A woodcutter and his wife lived in the forest with their 7 children. When the youngest child was born, he was only the size of a thumb, and even now at 7, he is still small and doesn't talk much, so everyone calls him Little Thumb. The woodcutter and his wife were poor to begin with, but after they had children, they became even poorer, and the woodcutter and his wife could no longer feed the children. You can't feed the children anymore. Tomorrow, take the children to the forest. While the children are gathering brushwood, you can run back. In the morning, they all ate the last piece of bread and drank milk, and went out to gather firewood with their mother. The brothers were having a great time gathering twigs and making bundles of firewood, when they suddenly realized that their mother was gone and cried loudly. "Don't cry, brothers. I'll take you home." So Thumb encouraged his brothers, but it started to rain. It was pitch black, and the children suddenly became scared. In the pitch-black forest, the wind blew hard, and the cries of wolves echoed in the darkness. Rain began to fall in patches, and the brothers continued walking in the darkness. But their hands and feet hurt unbearably from the cold. Thumb climbed a nearby tree and looked around. He saw a light in the distance, so he encouraged his brothers. When he arrived at the house with the light, he knocked on the door. A kind-looking woman came out, and Thumb and the children were relieved, and asked, "Please let us stay the night." When the woman saw the children, she looked troubled and said, "Oh dear, I can't chase them out in this rain. But this is the house of a man-eating ogre." The Thumb boys were so scared when they heard that this was the ogre's house. "I'll let you stay the night, and you can run away in the morning." The woman said this and let the children in, changed their clothes by the fireplace, and gave them warm milk, bread, and roasted meat. At that moment, they heard a banging sound on the door. The ogre had returned. The woman whispered to the Thumb boys, "Hide under that bed. Don't come out." She hid the children under the bed. As soon as the ogre entered the house, he gulped down the wine on the table and asked, "Is the meat ready?" "Yes, I've roasted a lamb for you to enjoy," the woman replied. Is it lamb? It smells like raw meat to me." The ogre sniffed the smell. "What are you talking about? This is the only meat," the woman said in a panic, but the ogre stood up and started sniffing around. The Thumb boys under the bed were scared of what they would do if they were found. "Oh, this is the smell of children wet from the rain." As he said this, the ogre turned the bed over. When he found the children, he licked his lips happily and licked their faces. "Oh, it looks delicious. Can you make a delicious sauce that goes well with this meat?" The woman panicked and asked the ogre, "What are you talking about? What are you going to do with this roasted lamb?" I guess that's true. I guess I'll have to be patient for a while. I'll make sure they eat well and get fat." The ogre sat down at the table and drank wine. He looked at the children and ate meat with glee. He drank more than usual and became drunk. The woman was relieved, and after treating the children to a big meal, she took them upstairs. There were 2 big beds on the 2nd floor, and in one bed were the ogre's 7 daughters. The daughters were still very young, just like Thumb, but they had sharp, hooked noses, teeth as sharp as shovels, and gold crowns on their heads. The woman put the Thumb boys to bed in the other bed and went downstairs. Thumb went to the next bed and got the crowns that the girls were wearing, put them on his brothers, and put his own hoods on the girls. When the ogre came up to the 2nd floor, He mistook the hooded girl for the children, who had just arrived, and tied her up with a rope so she could not escape. In the middle of the night, hearing the ogres snoring, Thumb woke up his brothers, changed his clothes, and jumped out the window. He then ran down the night road after the rain had stopped. At dawn, the ogre also woke up and said, "I'll leave it to you to get the children ready for yesterday," and the landlady went upstairs, only to find that only his daughter was there. When the ogre saw that the girls had hoods on their heads, he gritted his teeth and cried, "Those children! I'll definitely catch them." He then put on magic boots, called 7 Li boots, and jumped outside. 7 Li boots were boots that allowed a person to run a great distance in one go. He ran from place to place in the shoes, searching for the children. The sound of the sound echoed through the mountains, whoosh, whoosh. When Little Thumb and the children noticed the sound, they hid in a hollow under a rock and watched the ogre. Eventually the ogre became exhausted and fell asleep, snoring loudly on the rock. Little Thumb quietly let his brothers escape, and when he tried on the magic boots, the shoes fit Little Thumb perfectly. With one step, he ran 7 li as if in flight. Suddenly, Little Thumb had an idea, so he put on the shoes and went to the ogre's house, and told the woman a lie. "My husband has been captured by thieves, and they say that they will kill him if he does not hand over his gold and silver. They said that I should put on these shoes, and quickly get all the treasure I have." The woman was so surprised that she gave him all the treasure she had, and Little Thumb took it all and went home with it. After that, Little Thumb became rich with all the treasure, and he and his family lived happily ever after.